So about 4 years ago, I did a call with Alex Hormozi. It wasn't just a call; it was actually 2 days where I got to spend with him. And how I got to spend time with him is that I was the marketing manager for a multi-seven-figure advertising agency. And the cool thing about that was I was able to, learn a lot, but also I got to ask Alex some questions. And the advice that he gave me made it so that I would make a couple $1 million as a copywriter, or just shy of a couple million in just a few years. And really, what he told me is not going to be anything that'll blow your mind, but the action items of how I applied what he said and turned it into an actual income, and a great income, is probably going to be a little bit different than anything that you've probably heard before. So one thing is he told me to double down on skills. Now, I'm sure you've seen his videos and he's talked about that. I'm sure you see gurus all the time talking about amplifying your skills, getting more skills, or like tapping into your skills. And while this is all really, really important, the main thing is, how do you then get experience applying the skills? Because you can't just read copywriting books, sales books, and then basically like know how to do it well. So you have to have reps. You have to have a lot of reps. And in the beginning, when you're going from zero to getting your first handful of clients, the main issue that you face is just not being able to get the reps in, because you just don't have it. You don't have any clients, or you don't have any experience. So what I did is basically I took what he said and then applied it to the company that I was working at, because the company I was working at hired me as a media buyer. Now, Facebook media buying is an important skill, but for it can get you pretty far, but it's not going to get you as far as getting good at like copywriting or sales or negotiation, leadership. All those things are way more important, but it's a good skill to get your foot in the door oftentimes, which is what it was for me. So through learning to media buy, I got a job at a well-established advertising agency that I was able to spend 50K to spend 2 days with Hormozi. I think he charges that a day now, which is pretty crazy. This was before he started posting content and stuff. Before, and he was still at gym launch. So he told me double down on skills, and then he said to focus on one core skill, and then to learn auxiliary skills associated with that amplify it. So here's how I implemented it. So copywriting, as he said, is like one of the best skills that he ever learned, and one that he recommends everybody learn, especially if they're a business owner and they sell high ticket services. So like ecom, copy does matter, but it's a lot easier to write for ecom, at least in my opinion. I've done both ecom and selling online education products, and ecom has just been way easier to sell, or sorry, way easier to write for, I should say. But for selling high ticket coaching programs, you need to have a lot more finesse and really understand the mind of the person. Again, could be wrong about that. Just my experience with ecom is, especially, if you just have like a Facebook ad to a checkout page, it's not that much copy on that versus like a VSL that's going to be 10, 15 minutes to get somebody to book a call for a high ticket service. So that's kind of my, what I wanted to go down. So what I did from that was I went on YouTube and I looked up, what's the best way to learn copywriting? And I found this video by a guy named Dan Locke, believe it or not, that he said that you should handwrite proven sales letters for 30 to 60 minutes a day. So I did that for 3 months, and got that basically laid the foundation for me to become a really good copywriter, because copywriting is a language. And when you handwrite something, it's instilling, especially with the multiple motor skills and mental connections you're making, you're able to really, really put together like solidify that language into your brain. So that's what I did. And I wrote a lot of John Carlton ads. And then from there, I learned, okay, so now I know copyright. Now let's double down on email, because writing for emails is an especially, it's not just it's not just copywriting. There's also some skills around it, and like even email deliverability. So I learned that. And that's how I got to my first 50, 60K months. And then I've been able to make 40 to 60K a month, depending on the month, pretty much since a year after that talk with Hormozi, when I doubled down on the skill of email, and doubled down on the skill, double down on the skill of copywriting, and then went and double down on the skill of email. And then in the last year, what's going to be able to get me to 100K a month is not by trying to get better at email or copywriting. It's actually going to be learning to train and hire copywriters so that I can take on more clients. And then the next skill that I'm going to be able to really take things to the next level is going to actually be learning how to run a large team and systems and operations. That's going to get me to 150, 200K a month. So the skill, learning one skill, so copywriting is what I doubled down on, and then I made it more specific and made it about not just copywriting, but email copywriting and email deliverability and how email marketing works. Double down on that, and that's what got me to 40, 50, 60K a month. And then from there, what I'm going to use to double that is by learning to hire and train and manage a team of copywriters. So that's kind of my journey of it, and really just handwriting and getting I almost forgot this. So the other thing I did was I wanted to apply the skill with the company that I was working at. So what I did was I didn't just study courses and books about email copywriting. I actually just told the owner hey, I'm going to take over your email marketing. And then that's how I was able to develop the skills, by getting in the reps. So if you're having a hard time getting clients, either one, you just need to do work for free until you get a case study, because once you get your first case study, it's a lot easier to sell. And then or go work at a company. I actually really recommend beginners to go work at companies, because you're going to learn you're not going to just get a ton of reps in, but you're also going to learn a lot more about business and potentially leadership, and even if the company is ran terribly, because I've worked at companies where the company was ran terribly, but I learned what not to do, which is sometimes just as important. So double down on skill, and then learn an auxiliary skill to that, and then keep stacking them. And now I'm still focused on the the skill of copywriting, but I applied it to a specific thing that could generate me a great income. And then now I'm learning to apply that skill of copywriting and impart it into other people so that I can scale even further. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, or drop them in the comments below, I'm going to respond to every single one, especially since this channel is new. I want to build a community. So drop your questions below. Happy to help. The other thing too is, let me know what skill you are going to double down on. That will be I would love to, potentially give you a resource or connect you with somebody, because I know a lot of people that teach people skills. So I probably could point you in the right direction, and somebody that's legit, that I know gets people results. So drop your questions, drop what skill you're going to be working on, and I'll see you guys in the next video.